In a world ravaged by a deadly virus, a hidden killer strikes from beneath our noses. Mask pollution. But what does the public think?
I'm wearing a single-use mask today.
Reusable.
Sorry, reusable.
Disposable mask, but I have a reusable mask. Yeah.
Reusable.
I'm wearing this mask. It's a reusable mask, I believe, yeah.
A reusable mask.
I like the reusable mask because I can wash it and reuse it. And I like that I don't have to worry about continuously buying a disposable mask.
I am conscious of not too much throwaway sort of stuff, like the reusable ones obviously get you out of a pinch, but I generally, at least where I can, try and use things where I'm able to reuse things and not just one-use stuff. I also just wanted something that had a really nice design because I like seeing other people with interestingly designed masks, and so I did sort of think about the sort of aesthetic that I would have and then go and have a bit of a search for those.
It's a lot comfier. It looks better.
Yes, of course I do.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, I do. I do worry for the generation coming through. I do worry for them. Yeah.
Generally, yes, I do. Yes, I do. Which was also one of the key factors in deciding to get reusables and not rely just on boxes of one-use ones.
Yeah, you worry about the environment.
I see them get thrown out a lot, so I don't know how recyclable they are.
Yeah. That's smart. Yeah.
I think it would be a wonderful idea to encourage more people to wear reusable masks and perhaps some further education about the best way to dispose of the single-use masks.
Yes, I think so.
Yeah, I'd say so.
Definitely, yeah. Because I see a lot of masks everywhere. I pick a couple of ones up because I just see people it breaks easy. And I see a lot of people just chuck them around. So it's just like better for the environment. It's a lot of rubbish out there and you don't want to just add to more, yeah.
Yeah. Like I prefer the reusable one instead of the disposable one.
Yeah, I think that would be an advantage. Just something came up in my feed today, a little bit disparagingly, just about how many now one-use face masks there are now polluting in the waters and stuff like that. And that is also still a genuine concern.
How long have you been making the face mask for?
I started in January, only because the evidence started to come out that was actually making a difference.
And what are your reasons for starting to make them?
At first it was because I didn't like the ugly ones that I could buy, but I've always been able to sew, and I think I was bored during a lockdown, and I just thought I started making them for me. And New Zealand had a lockdown, and my family in New Zealand asked for some, and then my sister asked for some, and I figured out it was much easier to cut and make a whole bunch at once than just to make one or two at a time. And then I started selling them because I wanted, there was a problem with trying to get the normal masks, disposable masks from pharmacies. They were charging like $50 for a box of masks and things. So I wanted people to have the option to be protected. So I started selling them at cost price so that people could be protected, because I didn't want them to get sick and end up in our hospital. So I think I have sold and made for nearly all of my friends, and they tell their families and their friends and things. So I think I've sold about 500.
And did you think about any sort of environmental benefits when you started making them?
I hate how many we waste at work, so I was considering the amount of waste that was being created just from us within a hospital, and then watching that on a large scale. I'm surprised at how many people quickly reverted to disposable again, because they're really uncomfortable, and they actually, a lot of them are very thin and not actually providing anywhere near enough protection either, and then they just create so much waste. And they seem to be made with the worst materials possible, so they seem to be very plasticky, and with the wire that doesn't break down. There's actually no need to have wire if you have something that's sized right for the face. So like I do different sizes depending on the face shape.
And obviously, so before that you wait, there's like a lot of waste in the hospital because
Yeah.
it's a hospital.
A
When you're
lot.
out and about, like just walking around the beach or whatever, do you see many sort of single-use masks laying about and things like that?
Yeah, I was out the other day, yesterday, and there were masks everywhere all over the ground. I think maybe because it was windy, they might have been getting picked up a little bit more from the wind, but that was just at Bunnings in the pet shop, and there was heaps of them,
And how often do you personally wear a single-use mask?
only at work.
So never
So
outside.
never outside. I wear my ones. My one's are much cuter.
And just quickly as well, just the obviously there's a thing at the moment they call the Anti-Plastic Act, so they got rid of like cutlery and things
Oh,
like
yeah.
plastic, Would you support maybe next year or maybe the year after of like maybe banning plastic masks?
Yeah, definitely. And it's unnecessary. Whereas you can just wear a fabric mask and wash it.
What started you guys making those face masks?
I always liked bamboo, so I decided to just play around with the design, and I really liked it, and so I started making them.
Did you guys think about the environmental impacts of these single-use masks before you started making your ones?
Absolutely, I recycle everything in my factory as much as possible, and yeah, just the thought of the landfill for, you know, the PPE and the face masks, and you see them flying around everywhere. Absolutely, it was, yeah, probably one of the main factors, to tell you the truth.
So do you think that you would recommend more people to be wearing the reusable face masks?
Absolutely, you know.
What are some of the benefits of buying reusable face masks?
Well, I mean, obviously, other than the environment, but, you know, the fact that you can wash them, and the bamboo ones that we make are very comfortable and breathable. So, yeah, I mean, the main factor I would say would be the environment and the fact that they're not ending up in, well, not as many of them. I'm sure there's still, you know, some ending up in landfill, unfortunately, but there certainly wouldn't be as many.
What do you like of the impact of that having on climate change?
I think with the mask, it's more about the impacts to our wildlife and our ecology and our ecosystems. So if you're looking at climate change, you have to understand, well, if masks increase in landfill or whatever, how they're disposed, is that creating emissions? Then that would actually contribute to, you know, the climate crisis. If we're looking at disposable masks, and the fact we just read that, you know, 173,000 microfibers are released, what's that doing to our ecosystem, and what's that doing to our wildlife? What's that doing to our creatures that live in the sea, you know, or our creatures that are in freshwater creeks and that sort of stuff? So maybe not directly related to climate change, but it's all connected anyway. We've got a web of life, so, you know.
Have you personally seen like wastage of single-use masks around just anywhere you've been?
Not, I've seen them around, but not to the extent where I let you look at bottled water. I don't think it's going to be far from where we're going to see people disposing of them irresponsibly, because it's all about behaviour, you know. So people are not going to understand the impacts that they're disposing of those masks irresponsibly. And until people understand the impacts, they're not going to stop what they're doing. And I think that's a really big opportunity for communication, whether it be through stories that you're telling, or through TV, or through you know, online stuff. People need to actually have access to information about what impacts those masks are having on our environment. Unless you actually look it up and you look at science manuals, there's no real general communication about it. Yeah.
And in general, do you think there should be more effort to encourage people to wear reusable?
Absolutely, absolutely. And it's a false economy. I mean, we can buy a mask for $10 or $15 that we reuse over and over again. All you got to do is wash them. Yet you buy 5 masks, single-use masks, and they're like $9.99. So for a little extra dollars, you know, you get a reusable one. So it's really about, it's not going to be an extraordinary jump in cost. It's about changing behaviours, or having governments actually mandate that they will like they did with plastic bags, and they've done with single-use plastics. They actually transition where they ban single-use masks in the future.
Do you have faith that they'll actually do that?
Will they do that?
Do you have faith that they will do it?
It comes with pressure, community pressure. So until they recognise there's a problem, I mean, we've been talking about, plastic straws and that sort of thing for a very long time, and obviously they've banned them now, and there's a lot of documentation and there's a lot of stories and about, how they have, they harm our wildlife and things like that. That needs to be done with one single-use mask as well. You need to have those stories and that sort of pressure. So you need to have an advocacy group. So Boomerang Alliance is one of them. They're one of the ones that were actually responsible in getting that across the line. And you need to have a government that's actually open to that situation. In saying that, single-use masks do have a place in hospitals and do have a place. So it's about where are they used and responsibly, and where are they disposed of responsibly. So that'd be hospitals and that sort of stuff. But general public, people like us, should they just have reusable? There's no need for have single.
And you said before about sort of the economic benefit. What are the other benefits of reusable face masks? Just maybe the style of it and things like that.
Oh, well, they're much prettier, aren't they? Yeah, I mean, people can actually, they can create an individual, I suppose, look for themselves, because, and it's also created an income stream for people as well. So I know that people have been able to create an income stream where they may have lost income because of COVID. Now they'll be making masks and selling masks. So that's created an income stream for them. You've got companies that have created an income stream for them. So people have actually made money out of them. So that's actually putting money back in the economy. So that's a good thing. So, as well as an environmental, more of a positive aspect to it.
And how do you think organisations or governments can actually fix this sort of single? Do you think they should put things in place? So, maybe a company would say, no, you've got to wear reusable masks at arm.
Oh, yeah, policy. So it depends on the organisation and what drives them. So it's that corporate responsibility that they have. But they can have it as policy. They might have to provide the masks. So if they're going to have a policy that everyone has to use reusable masks, they may decide, like you would a uniform, provide that mask and have that expectation that you have a mask. So I think it would come down to organisational choice and policy if it's not regulated or by the government. So
is this something you have, or maybe you would try and encourage it your own?
I do. I mean, my whole family has reusable masks. I won't let them have single use. So it comes to some people in your household, and we've got a big household. So, I went and bought them all their masks and that sort of stuff. It comes down to your own personal beliefs and values as well. Me, myself, because I work in sustainability, I naturally do things. But I think that really comes down to a communication plan to let the general public know what are the negative impacts of single-use masks and what are the positive impacts of reusable masks. So I think communication has huge role in educating the community, who then can make a choice on which way they want to go.